Y'all, this video is a thing of beauty, and I sure hope this is happening all over Africa. The Ghanaian president, the president of Ghana, ladies and gentlemen, told the French president to his face, "We no longer want to depend on you. We want nothing from you. We got all the resources here in Africa." Yeah. And the French president couldn't do nothing but just stand there and take it. I want to thank one of my subscribers, um, My Greatness Inside of Me 198433. I'm just using a different video, but I'm certainly going to give you the full credit because I wanted to get the actual speech from the Ghanaian president. And ladies and gentlemen, this just happened recently, very recently, I think less than 24 hours ago in Africa when the French president visited. I wish more African leaders would do the same thing, tell the West to go to hell. How are you sitting there with all the resources, all the riches, and these countries from the West that have absolutely nothing without you are there holding your resources hostage? You got to get out of the fear of these people. You know, they've been dangling their money over our heads and threatening countries and threatening to do things long enough. Their way has not benefited anybody other than themselves. And we have experienced this in the US. You know, they'll tell Black people to fend for yourself, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And we got a full history showing white mobs coming in and burning down and killing people that were thriving. See, they want us to keep a codependency on them. Every time we try to break away from that codependency, they have a problem with it. Well, those times got to go. It's got to go. And it's going to change whether they like it or not. It doesn't matter if they don't like it. The bottom line is the shift on this planet is happening. Okay? And it's going to continue to happen until it's fully completed. That's the bottom line. They will no longer be able to force themselves and their will and their way on the entire planet no more. The change has got to happen. Their 6,000 years have long passed. They are just buying time at this, right now they're just really literally buying time at everybody else's expense. But this shift is going to change. You can tell that spirit of independence is on a lot of people in this world now. And it's going to come out more and more. It's going to get so bad. So many people hate the West. It's going to get so bad, they won't even be able to give their products away to anybody. No one will take it. And that's already happening with Israel. Israel is sending products around the world, and their products are getting stamped, and people are no longer buying Israeli products like they used to. And the same thing is coming to America and all of these European nations that have usurped the power of other people on this planet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the awakening is real. Now, I'm going to let you listen to the president from Ghana address the French president, who has no resources. The French have no resources. All of their resources come from Africa. That's why they keep trying to strong arm Africa and threaten Africa. See, the days of bullying is coming to an end. And it's becoming more obvious with all of the rebelling and uprising going on across this earth. Western influence have benefited no one other than Westerners. People are tired of that. That's the thing of the past. Let me go ahead and play this video. And man, I give kudos to this Ghanaian president.
Welcome to the Great African Leadership Series, where we feature great inspirational speeches and quotes from African leaders.
I think there is a fundamental misstatement of the issue in the question. We can no longer continue to make policy for ourselves, in our country, in our region, in our continent, on the basis of whatever support the Western world or France or the European Union can give us. It will not work. It has not worked, and it will not work. Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. It is not right for a country like Ghana, 60 years after independence, to still have its health and education budgets being financed on the basis of the generosity and charity of European taxpayers. By now, we should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves. And if we're going to look at the next 60 years as a period of transition, a period whereby we can stand on our own feet, our perspective has not to be what the French taxpayer decides to do with whatever surpluses that they have in France. They're welcome. They're appreciated. Whatever interventions that the French taxpayer through their governments make to us are appreciated. We're not going to lick a gift horse in the mouth. But this continent, and with all that has happened, is still today the repository of at least 30% of the most important minerals of the world. It is a continent of vast, arable, and fertile lands. It has the youngest population of any of the continents in the world. So it has the energy and the dynamism. We've seen it. These young men who are showing so much resilience and ingenuity in crossing the Sahara, finding ways to go across with rickety boats across the Mediterranean to really, those energies, we want to have those energies working inside our countries. And we're going to have those energies working in our countries if we begin to build systems that tell the young people of our country that their hopes, their opportunity are right here with us. Migration and the movement of people is being presented in a manner which suggests that somehow it's a new phenomenon. There's nothing new about it. It's as old as man, the movement of people. And it has always been linked to the same thing. The failure of where you are to provide you with an opportunity, so you move somewhere else. Those of you who are familiar with 19th century European history would know that the biggest wave of immigration in 19th century Europe, the latter part of it, came from Ireland and from Italy. Waves upon waves, generations of Italians and Irish people left their countries to seek the American paradise, largely because Ireland was not working, Italy was not working. Today, you don't hear it. Italian young people are in Italy. Irish young people are in Ireland. We want young Africans to stay in Africa. And how are they? And it means that we have to get away from this mindset of dependence. This mindset about what can France do for us. France will do whatever it needs to do for its own sake. And when those coincide with ours, tant mieux, as the French people say. But our main responsibility as leaders, as citizens, is what we need to do to grow our own countries. What are the institutions that work, that will allow us to have good governance, to have accountable governance, to make sure that the monies that are placed at the disposal of leaders are used for the interests of the state and not for those of the leaders, to have systems that allow for accountability, that allow for diversity, that allow for people to be able to express themselves and contribute to fashioning the public will and the public interest. Our concern should be with what do we need to do in this 21st century to move Africa away from being cap in hand and begging for aid, for charity, for handouts. The African continent, when you look at its resources, should be giving monies to other places. We have huge wealth on this continent, in our own country of Ghana. And we need to have a mindset that says, we can do it. Others have done it. We can also do it. And once we have that mindset, we will see it as a liberating factor for ourselves. We keep talking about how it was that Koreans, Malaysians, Singaporeans, who got their independence at the same time as us. We're told of that at the time of Ghanaian independence, per capita Ghanaian income was higher than that of Korea. Today, Korea is part of the first world. So is Malaysia. So is Singapore. What happened? Why did they make that transition? And 60 years after independence, we are where we are. Those are the matters that should concern all of us as Africans, as Ghanaians. And not, when I say so, with the greatest of respect to the French president. I think that the cooperation of France is something that I am, as you know, a strong friend of France. I am Francophile. So I don't have any difficulty with that. But I'm talking about our own propulsion, what we need to do to get our countries to work so that we can create the conditions that would allow our young people to forego this hazardous effort to get to Europe. They're not going there because they want to. They're going there because they don't believe they have any opportunities in our countries. So that should be our focus. And I believe that with that if we change that mindset of dependence, that mindset which is contingent on aid and charity, we would see that in the decades ahead of us, the full flowering of the African peoples will take place. And that new African personality that was talked about at the time of our independence will become real and imminent in our times. That's what I'm saying. I hope that I'm not upsetting the questioner or even some of my friends who are here. But these are my strongly held beliefs. And that is the reason why I've adopted as the slogan of my presidency, of my period of the Supreme Office of Ghana, that we want to build a Ghana beyond aid, a Ghana which is independent, which is self-sufficient, that is capable of standing on its own feet and building its own life. We can do it if we have the correct mindset to do so. Mr. President, those are my contributions.
Share this video with friends and family to support the channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the mindset we all need. You know, and he's right. They have been depending on aid from Western nations all this time, and their conditions have never stopped being poor. People are sick of that. That's the thing of the past. And see, they don't want to hear this. All they want to hear is they're in charge. They got the money. You do what they say. No, those times are passing. Those times are passing. And I'm just so glad these African nations are waking up and letting the West know, look, we got the resources. We should be loaning to you, not the other way around. But see, they have bullied their way into Africa, butchered up the continent to serve the Western nations, when all you got to do is wake up and realize they need you, not the other way around. These Western nations need Africa, not the other way around. If they had all these resources in Western nations, they wouldn't be steady ripping all the resources out of Africa for the last 5-6 centuries. Okay, just look at how long they've been raping the resources out of Africa, ladies and gentlemen. They need Africa, not the other way around. All you got to do is wake up and see it for what it is. Their time of dangling their money in everybody's face and demanding that you do everything with all kinds of strings attached is the thing of the past. A lot of people are sick of that. Nobody is benefiting from that other than these people in the West. And people are tired of propping them up. So the world is changing. And you just keep your ears open, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear more African presidents coming out and telling the West to get lost, get your money, and get out of here. We don't want it. They have a long-standing history of always bullying people and then demanding that you depend on them. That's old. And in the dependency, you get stuck in one spot and you don't get to move beyond that one spot. That's the problem, you know? And not just in Ghana, but ladies and gentlemen, 2018, look for something that you can do independently on the side where you can make money and not depend on this system at all. That's what you should do. And that's what I'm going to encourage everybody to do. And if you start any type of ventures on your own and you want to let the other subscribers on my channel know, reach out to me and I will do a business video and talk all about what you're doing. I don't have any issue with that. I am all for the Black business and I'm all for advertising Black businesses whenever I can. I'm all about that. But please tell me what you think about this video. I was blown away. I just hope we see more African leaders stand up and tell the West, take your money and just leave. Let us try to stand on our own feet. People are not in fear of you ripping your money away. It's not like you've given us a lot of it anyway. So, go ahead and take it. And I don't blame any country on the continent of Africa for having that type of attitude. You got all of the resources. Hell, you see the size of Africa. The entire continent sits on oil. The whole thing. Okay, every single country in Africa has oil. Every single one. Every single one have all types of resources. I was friends with a man from Sierra Leone. He was telling me how Africans can walk in their backyard, dig a little bit in the dirt, and can pull up diamonds in their own backyards. Okay? What do you need the West for if you can just walk in your backyard and pull up a fistful of diamonds? And sometimes they said some are huge. They can get that right out of their backyards. You don't need the West. All you got to do is wake up from all of their brainwashing. You don't need them. But I hope this man is protected because anytime you try to get rid of him, you end up like Muammar Gaddafi. But all praises to this man for having the nerve and the guts and the courage to stand face to face with the French president and tell him, we don't want nothing else from you. We want to stand on our own. Please leave your comment and subscribe, and don't forget to hit on that notification bell. Peace, family.